Molly O'Shaughnessy really loves summer, especially walks and adventures with her Granny Jilly. Sunflowers are her favourite flowers because they're tall, bright and always make her feel cheerful. Granny usually visits from her home in Canvey Island during the summer holidays and spends lots of time with Molly doing all sorts of fun activities and teaching her all about plants, flowers and wildlife. Even though this summer is different and Granny can't visit, she writes letters to Molly every week asking about her adventures in nature. Molly writes back telling Granny all about her new friend Fizzy and their explorations. Granny can't wait to visit Clonmel, or the Vale of Honey as she calls it. She asks about one of her favourite places, St. Patrick's Well. Molly tells her all about her recent trip there with her new friend. At St. Patrick's Well, Molly likes to put her feet into the water and close her eyes tightly to make a wish. As Granny isn't around this summer, her friend Fizzy goes everywhere with Molly and her parents. They enjoy watching the bubbles pop up and down in the well, fascinated by the ripples as they send well wishes to everyone who needs them. Sometimes Molly quietly wishes for a surprise. Surprises are her absolute favourite, and Granny's are like no one else's. On the way home, Molly loves to daydream, looking out the car window, admiring the sights and sounds. After every adventure, Dad adds a piece of nature to a little fairy village he's made for Molly at the bottom of the garden. Fizzy always insists he has seen little fairies flitting in and out of the tiny doors. They would play a game called Spot the Fairies, but Molly became frustrated as she hadn't even seen one. Granny's letter would usually arrive on Friday mornings. Molly would reply sending a few pictures and sharing news of all their nature trips. The most exciting one was a scavenger hunt they went on to Carey's Castle, a pretty woodland close to the Glenarry stream. There are lots of birds and animals in this area, and some really lucky people have been known to see squirrels, deer and sparrowhawk during the year. On the walk, Fizzy complained, "I'm so tired. This is the longest walk ever." "Don't be such a grouch," said Molly. They went everywhere together. Molly didn't have any brothers or sisters, so having a companion to explore with made them a great adventurous team. However, spending so much time together meant sometimes they would squabble. On the way to Carey's Castle, they came across some trees, insects, plants and flowers, which caused much curiosity. Luckily, Molly knew there was a professor living nearby who could help name anything that Molly and Fizzy couldn't recognise. And if not, surely Granny would know, she thought. Fizzy helped Molly to collect and keep track of items on the scavenger hunt list in her nature discovery notebook. Whenever they came across things they were unsure of, they would make notes for the professor, asking for help, usually accompanied by a picture. First thing on the road they saw was a great big bush that almost looked like a tree. "Fizzy, write this down," ordered Molly. "Professor, Professor, what can it be? It's green and it's cream and big as can be."
"Molly and Fizzy, how lovely to see you learning the name of the elder tree."
They loved picnics and finding new places to eat outdoors. Fizzy was such a messy eater, but Molly's mother always packed the bag with lots of delicious treats to be shared and things to clean up afterwards. Fizzy was scared walking through the woods, even though Dad and his dog Kobe were walking ahead. You see, Fizzy believed the fairies would eat him, but Molly told him to relax, because at least they were hiding as she hadn't seen one, and besides, if they had a choice on a day like today, ice cream would taste much better. Whenever Fizzy heard chime-like sounds, it would freeze like a stone. Molly could be bossy, and Fizzy complained a lot, saying, "I'm tired, are we nearly there?" Molly would tell him to stop. "Stop being so silly, Fizzy.
No such thing as fairies, Fizzy. I told you already. Only the tooth fairy, that's it."
They are real, Molly. I have seen them loads of times, said Fizzy. OK, if you say so. Now let's go down this path towards the old castle, said Molly. But I don't want to go that way, said Fizzy, shaking his soft fluffy hair in the wind.
Will you stop it and come on? Look at you. You're like a windy wish flower. Now come on, let's go this way.
A windy wish flower? What is that? Said Fizzy. How am I supposed to know? It's something my mother says. I will ask the professor. Let me write it in my notebook, said Molly. Note number 2. Professor, Professor, what can it be? It's fluffy and white, and wishes unfold when you shake with delight.
Ah, Molly and Fizzy, a fun flower indeed, the dandelion clock with its parachute seed.
Are you coming along or not? We've a picnic to eat, yelled Molly, in a voice that sounded like a scolding auntie. OK, but it's not fair. You've been really bossy again, snaps Fizzy. This bag is very heavy and I'm tired of walking miles and miles and miles. Don't be ridiculous. We've only walked a couple of miles, said Molly. OK, but please can we eat something soon before I fall down? I'm starving, pleaded Fizzy. Off they went, traipsing down the dry, sun-soaked path. Molly could hear her pet dog barking in the distance. He'd ran ahead with Dad playing fetch the stick, eagerly in pursuit of Clonmel stream. Molly and Fizzy walked quietly for a few minutes, and soon they forgot about their little quarrel when they saw a flicker of light strike right across the sky. I told you, Molly, shouted Fizzy. The fairies, they're here. This is their homeland and they travel into the town and they live at the foot of your garden. Now do you believe me? Molly thought about the flicker of light. Maybe it was a sign of thunder to follow, she thought. But she could see Fizzy was a little sad, and she didn't want to upset him or waste any more time arguing. She stood still like an open-mouthed statue, staring at Fizzy. He seemed thrilled to finally have Molly's agreement, but before she timed to reply, they heard Dad's voice boom through the summer air, calling them to catch up quickly. Yes, I think I do believe you now, said Molly. Fizzy happily bounced down the rubble track in the direction of Dad's voice, triumphant that for once Molly agreed with him. Molly ran after Fizzy and they both stopped before turning in the track to the old castle. You may be an old grouch, Fizzy, but nature walks are fun with you, said Molly. You may be a bossy boots, but I enjoy spending time with you, said Fizzy. Suddenly, Dad appeared and said, What on earth has delayed you two? Away with the fairies, I suppose. Molly laughed and said, Sorry, Dad, we were just... Fizzy gulped, hoping Molly wouldn't mention any more about the fairies to Dad. Dad laughed and shook his head. Dad asked Molly to set up their picnic, while he ran around the castle with a very excited dog. Molly and Fizzy were happy to rest and eat delicious jam sandwiches and drink some fruit juice before the long walk back to the car. There was just one thing that Molly still wondered about when they arrived home. Near her house, Molly and Fizzy saw some birds that were small and broad with short tails. She wondered what they were called. There was only one thing for it. Out came Molly's notebook, and she curiously wrote, Note number 3. Professor, Professor, what can it be? Its feathers shimmer as it flies through the trees. This was Granny's favourite adventure, and she was impressed with how grown-up Molly had become. Granny Jilly knew exactly what this bird was called, as she had watched seeds and berries gobbled up quick as a flash on her visit to Clonmel last summer. She gave Molly a clue and said, Wait for the professor's reply. All I can say is, like you, this bird just adores berries and moves like a star-shaped shadow in the sky.
Well spotted, Molly and Fizzy, well done. Those smart birds are starlings. Yes, every last one. Well done, everyone who sent me a message or a video telling me about your adventures in nature. Let me see, there was Bella and Brianna and Maeve and Charlie and Chris, and I say you all did very well indeed. So 3 cheers for our nature explorers, and may your binoculars never mist over. Hurrah!
That is my favorite tree because I love to stand on it because it's the only tree that you can stand on.
You're scared of bees?
Yeah,
Why?
because they can sting you.
Maybe if you stay away from them?
I always do and I never do. My favorite flower is a sunflower because they're big. They're the biggest flowers I ever saw, and their color matches my top. My favorite animals are bunnies, because they're so cute and fluffy and adorable.
Thank you, Bella. Did you enjoy the nature walk?
Yes.
And what did you see?
Flowers, trees, flowers, more trees, more birds, more bees, more tweeting.
Hi, I'm Charlie. Where's Chris at? And hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to Cruinniú in Glumala.
You know, it's really nice to lay on the grass and look up at the clouds.
Yes, it is. Well, it's actually interesting down here too. Like, there is this daisy right here. It's got nice white petals and a sun in it.
Well, actually, this is like a whole sun. It's fully yellow, and it's got and it can tell you if you like butter or not. Wow, I think I like butter. Well, look inside your garden. See what you can find. We've got roses, trees,
And everywhere. And everything.
and everything. So, what can you find in your garden?
Slán.
That was when it started. The day I saw the butterfly. As to what started, I can't exactly say it. It was like things started to make sense again, I suppose. On the radio and TV, people were saying nothing made sense anymore because the schools were closed and shops were shut. Some people were in hospital, most were stuck at home. But Mama made us get out of the flat each day for exercise. So every day we crossed the old bridge and went walking to Dennisbrook Park. And one day, about a week after school ended, and Mama stopped work on a checkout, two big black and red butterflies flew right by me and brushed against my face. "Look, Mama," I shouted. A rush of excitement made me run to where the butterfly had landed in long grass along the river. When I got nearer, I went slowly on tiptoe in my runners because I badly wanted not to scare it away. It sat on a leaf in the March sunshine, opening and closing its wings. They were black with a band of red and white, and the edges were a nice shape with wavy corners. Close up, it wasn't what I expected. "Oh," I said, disappointed. "I thought you were something else," and that's when the first sharp fragment of memory stabbed me. I thought I remembered scorching sunshine in butterflies with orange and black wings, spotted with white, and chased them with friends, kicking the red dust, hearing chatter in French. Back in the flat, I mostly watched cartoons. Mama thought it was good for me, even if I kept repeating a lot of strange phrases like "to infinity and beyond." Only that afternoon, I went searching for my school bag. I found it kicked under the bed, still with half-eaten sandwiches in it. I couldn't be bothered for sandwiches. I fetched my pencil case and I drew butterflies, the Irish butterfly that touched me today and the one I remembered from long time ago, all flying around the page together, dancing. Our flat had a balcony, and next day I asked if I could sit out there. I stood and looked across the railings to the tall trees along the river. Next thing, this little brown bird came down and sat on the railing and looked at me with a bright, clear eye. what I realized about it was not afraid. I liked that it was wild and free and could go anywhere, and it wasn't afraid of me, like it knew I was its friend. I wanted to give it something, but I didn't want to ask Mama for a biscuit. She was worried trying to sort out where we would get money during this lockdown. I remembered the half sandwich I'd been too lazy to put in the bin. I'll come back, I said to the bird. I sneaked back out that old sandwich stuffed in my pocket and scraped some crumbs of the hard crust. I put them into the corner of the balcony. Had sat back. It's okay, I said real quiet. It's crumbs for you, in case you're hungry. I guess we all know what it's like to be hungry sometimes. The little bird hopped right down and swept a crumb faster than anything and flew back up onto the rail. After a few visits, it stayed put on the floor and picked everything up. I felt like the chef had the Savoy. As he finished the last crumb, "See ya, friend," I said when he flew away that afternoon. I drew the birds just like him. After that, I saved crumbs for the bird whenever I could. The pockets of my tracksuit bottoms were full of broken biscuits and bits of toast. And the bird came to see me every day, and I called the secret name that came to me in a dream, and only the two of us knew. I called him Kidja. Mama and I walk in the Dennis Bark Park each day. It was a lucky break one day when Mama gripped my arm tight. "Mama, ow, you're hurting me." I looked where she was looking, saw an old guy crawling out of a bush. He wore an old-fashioned hat that looked like someone had sat on it a few times, and worse than that, he was talking to himself. I could tell Mama thought he was mad.
"Suffering succotash, the one that got away,"
he lamented, dusting himself down on the pocket by magnifying glass. Then he saw and courteously tipped his hat.
"Madam, young sir, lovely day for a Satania pavonia, but would she stay still? Not a bit of it. Professor Bombus Trochanter, at your service."
At the precise moment, a dark blue bird shot past us like a jet plane, its tail streaming behind it, and the professor and I both shouted in excitement at the same time.
"Bless my soul, the first arrival!"
exclaimed the professor, while at the same time I yelled, "That bird, I've seen it before." "Please, sir, what is that bird?" The bird had been joined by two more of its kind.
"They are swallows, the first of the year,"
explained the professor.
"They have flown from Africa to spend the summer in Ireland, eating insects over grazed fields and rivers, and rearing their young in nests made of mud on the rafters of barns."
"Ah," said Mama, nodding her head in wonder. "They flew all the way."
"All the way, 9,000 miles, right over the Congo,"
agreed the professor. Then he sighed and he said,
Long time since I had a mooch round Katanga. Been stuck here since the Argentine. This lockdown, you know.
And Mama nodded head again, smiling this time, and echoed Katanga like it was a magic word.
Still, not to worry,
Said the professor.
More species here in this park than most of us will ever know in a lifetime. 57 types of flowers and shrubs, and 28 different trees, each supporting 50 to 200 or more insect species. I could do with making a start on recording the birds, though.
So that is how we became friends with the professor. I brought my copy and made drawings of birds, and Mama tried to photograph them. That when we met the professor, he helped us look up their names on Birdwatch Ireland. Then we started photographing insects, and the professor showed me some really cool websites to help find out their names. He suggests keeping a journal to record the adventures in nature and the feathered friends I met along the way. So it's turning out to be a great summer. Even thought I miss playing hurling with my friends. We've seen swallow houses, sporting swifts that come from my original home. But what the professor and I are waiting for most now, the painted lady. She's a butterfly, so she takes longer to get there. When I see her, I'll be really happy. It will remind me that Ireland is my home now, and I'm learning to love its plants and wildlife. But even so, there is still space in my heart and in my beautiful adopted country for a little bit of Africa.